we'll go from there. So, all right. So everybody is pretty much either not done their business plan, or it doesn't do them a lot. Other than my man Michael, I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Corey over there already has his in place. So we're going to talk about it. So a couple of things though that I would like to state about a business plan. It can be overwhelming. A business plan, putting it together, all that can be extremely overwhelming. So for those of you that know me, know I've been doing this now. I've been doing it 34 years. I've probably been writing business plans for myself the last 25. I didn't start off doing business planning, and things weren't as evolved real estate wise when I first started. So there's a couple of things that I like to start with everyone. Is number one is your business plan puts you in a proper mindset to give you some success. So I mean, just imagine in the old days, if you were going to drive from, say, California to Florida, and you had to get a Thomas Book guide out, you had to make directions. I mean, you didn't just get in the car and drive and hope you ended up in Florida, right? Nowadays, obviously, we have a GPS, so it makes it a little bit easier. You can just kind of plug your in where you're going, and it takes you where you want to go, right? Well, our business plan, in my opinion, should be the same type of a setup. Now, this is me personally. I believe that since a business plan can be overwhelming, I think that you have to make your business plan realistic to what you are, what you're looking to achieve, and what is possible. I know that there's a lot of people that make a lot of money doing business planning training, and they'll tell you, you know what, have an audacious goal. And you're going to sell 1,000 homes next month, and they have an awful lot of really big goals and things. And I did that at one point, and that might be what you need. That might be something that works for you. But here's what I found. What I found for me was, number one, if I didn't hit my goal, although I did still have maybe a pretty good year, I felt deflated. I felt like, oh, I said I was going to sell 1,000 homes and I sold 900. I feel that, I don't care what anybody says. People do not get to the championship game and lose the championship game and start talking about they had a great year. You're thinking like, damn, I lost the championship. So in my opinion, as you're making your business plans, you want to make them in a manner that I do believe that you want to stretch yourself. I do believe that you don't want to do so. You don't want to say, okay, I'm gonna write this big old business plan and I plan on selling one house this year. I don't think that you need to do that, right? But I do think that you need to actually put some goals in place and put a plan together and kind of help you get to wherever it is that you want to get to. So I also feel that there's a couple of things that you need. So in a business plan we're going to talk about today, the biggest part of this you can do on one page. And it's that you're probably not going to get anything magical today, but you're going to get some things that I think are practical. All right. And one of the first things that you need to decide, and you should write down, is how much GCI, the gross commission income, how much gross commission income is it that you want to earn for next year? And whatever that figure is, okay? And that's pre-tax. We're just talking about how much money is Elgin and Pilar going to get from the sales that they're looking to make. So you want to take your gross commission income, in my opinion, as your starting point. And what we want to do is we want to work our numbers into how do we get to that number. Now, I'll tell you what you'll find in some cases. You're going to put your number together. When you put your number together and we break certain things down, you may find out, number one, that, whoa, I don't want to work that hard. I don't know that I want to do those type of numbers. And that's okay too. That means adjust what you want your gross income to be. Because if your goal is to make $1 million as a real estate agent next year, then we have to put together a $1 million business plan. You can't say you want to put together $1 million. Well, you can, but you'll find yourself frustrated if you say you want to put together $1 million business plan. I mean, you want to make $1 million selling real estate next year, but you put together a $100,000 business plan. So either any of that's okay, wherever you're at and what you feel comfortable with. Okay. Obviously, we gain our income by, you'll hear me use the word helping families, because that's in my business plan. I don't have it written. I'm going to say listings and buyers and stuff like that for purposes now. But like on my personal business plan for years, I don't talk about how many buyers I have, how many transactions I close. Mine are how many families have I helped? How many families, do I need to help sell their homes? How many families do I need to help buy homes? I use that type of dialogue because my personal belief is that if I help as many families as possible get what they want to get, the money that we receive is just a byproduct of the work that we do. To me, that keeps it personal, and it makes me not look at each client as a number. I mean, like, how it is. You guys go to the doctor, or you go to the doctor, and the nurse comes in, they take your vitals, and give the doctor some information. Unless there's something major, he or she comes in, you do a few things, and then they give you some medicine, and then they send you on your way. You are number 125-6743A for that day, right? But I don't think any of us want to feel that way. We want to feel that our doctor is taking a personal interest in helping us get better or check up or whatever. So that's why I do that way. So here's a couple of things that we should do. Number one is we're going to figure out what our gross income would be. And then there's basically a few ways that we all actually, get business. One is by listings. So we kind of need to decide where we want to be with listings. And I'm going to give you guys an example of some of this stuff. It'll be a basic example so you can at least see and post in from there. How many buyers do you want to work with? How many buyers do you actually want to take to closing and actually close out? How many referrals are you looking to send out to other agents? How many referrals are you looking to bring in? And I know that Michael, who's on this call right now, is big on referrals. Let me tell you something. Referrals do not happen by happenstance. They do not happen by accident. Referrals are intentional. There are people that have built their whole business on referrals. So if referral income is going to be part of what you're expecting in 2020, then we have to add that to our business plan. All right. If you have any other additional income that you're looking to bring in, you need to be intentional about it. What I mean by additional income, if you're an EXP, a rev share, or do you have a rev share goal, and how do you get there? If it's KW, it's profit share. If you do loans, loan fees. If you charge transaction fees, if there's anything that you actually do as part of your business, you want to factor that into your business plan. Now, here comes the fun part. The fun part is that now you have a business plan. What you really need is a work plan. You really need a map of what is now going to get you to where you want to get to, okay? As a bonus, one thing that you should do if you're not doing it already, which I do, and again, this stuff can be as elaborate as you want it to be. It can be as basic as mine. I'm a pretty basic guy. Like all the elaborate, again, I've been doing this a long time, so I'm old. So the elaborate stuff, this is for me. I don't want to write a 50-page business plan and stick it in my drawer. I don't want to do that. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I want to have something out that's easy for me to read and easy for me to work with. That I'm going to write on or type on. I'm going to make corrections to. This is my roadmap to get me where I want to get to. So you also, in my opinion, every month, you should do a profit and loss statement. You should do a profit and loss statement, and your profit and loss statement can be very, very basic, in my opinion. So my profit and loss statement at the top talks as a number of the listings that I took, the number of buyers that we put in escrow, we opened escrow with, the closings, what the closings were, and the revenue, the gross revenue driven from those closings. And then it's going to have my expenses of what it took to run my business that month. Because you also need to know what you're spending. Because remember, in this game, in real estate game, you can look as good as you want to. It is not what you gross, it's what you net. In my opinion, you do a whole lot of work and you make $1 million gross, and after all the money you spent and all the stuff, at the end of the day, if you come out of that with a couple $100,000, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that there may be a way that you could do things and work a little bit smarter and have the same net. Or if you're going to work that hard, you want to make sure that your net that you get, that you're actually keeping more money. So when you're putting down your expenses, I mean, you know, what is it costing you to run your business? Meaning, so what did it cost you that month? There's certain fees that are going to be the same. Like if you're, for instance, again, just throwing the EXP model out there. I know there's a couple of people here that are not on EXP, but you know, it's $85 a month. We all pay $85 a month. That goes in that category. And you might as well write it down 12 times. It's going to be in all 12 months, right? You know, if you have, in my opinion, if you have a card payment, I think that's part of your business expenses. If you have supplies that you've gotten that month, business cards, flyers, any of those types of things, any of those things that are expenses, because what you want to do at the end of the month is you want to look and you want to see that your revenue outpaced your expenses, right? This is getting you toward the goal that you want that you want to get to. So we definitely want to do that. If you know, I add in commission splits on that too. So like again, you know, 80-20 to your cap. So the 20% up until I cap goes into the expense column. That's for me. Some people do that. Now some of you guys are going to be really good maybe with Excel spreadsheets, that type of stuff, and you just set something up and you plug numbers in. That's great. I'm not that good. I told you I'm old. I came around before Excel. I never learned it properly. So I write it down. I have it out of my Evernote account, and I just write it down and I plug it in each and every month. All right. Your work plan. Your work plan has to be set up to where it takes you to where you want to be to achieve your numbers, right? So I'm going to skip down and kind of talk about an example just of a plan, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you would do for a work plan for that. So let's just say that you have a goal next year. Let's say the goal is to have a gross income GCI of $200,000. Okay, so you're looking to gross $200,000 next year, and if you happen to be working, you know, out here in California, you happen to be working here in LA or the Bay Area, but let's just we'll put the little part of LA that we're in over here. A lot of us that are in Santa Clarita, right? You want to take what your average sales price would be, right? So you got a goal to make $200,000. So if I do that, what is the average sales price? Not necessarily just of the homes in the medium price range as far as you know what those stats say, but what do you think your average sales price will be? Now this will be a working document, but you can base this on what the prices are in the area that you're working. So in this particular example, I wrote down an average sales price of $600,000. So in this part of California, everybody that's looking like a head nod, doesn't that sound like reasonable? That's kind of, I mean, everything is so high. So 600,000 is fairly reasonable right now. I mean, if you, I mean, you can't get a condo in Valencia for under 500 right now. So let's say 600. So I'm not like putting you at 800 or 900. $600,000 is our average sales price, right? So what do you want to do from there? What do you want to do from there is you want to take what your average gross commission would be off of a $600,000 property, right? So most, you know, just depends upon your business model. Now you're going to have some transactions that maybe you're at 3.5%. You're going to have some transactions where you're maybe 2%, 2.5% to where the commission fluctuates. So I did 2.25%, which is probably on the lower side, right? We're probably, most of us are going to be somewhere between 2.5 and 3. And all that depends upon if you're working with more buyers or sellers, obviously. Because if you're working with sellers, you can kind of control that a little bit better. That's another seminar, but we can talk about that, or you guys have questions about that. So at the end of the day, that's $15,000. So you're looking at $15,000 at 2.25% is what your gross commission check would be. How many people in other businesses and other industries would love to get paid a check that was $15,000? How many other real estate people that are working in like Idaho somewhere and their average sales price, is $100,000? How many of them would like to get a $15,000 check off of each one of our sales, right? But here's the magic of that. So if you take the $15,000 and we're trying at an average sales price of $600,000, right? We're trying to make $200,000. So how many deals, how many transactions do I need to do to get to $200,000? Well, check this out. You're talking about an approximate total of 13.3 closed transactions for the year. 13 transactions. 13 transactions with an average sales price of $600,000 gets you to $200,000, right? How many is that per month? 1.1 transaction per month, right? Now we got 12 months. So I ask you this, if you were the president of a company, and as the president of that company, your salespeople were required to make 1.1 sale per month, do you think that those salespeople would do it? And if they don't, if you are the person in charge of the salespeople that are doing that, you would do everything you can and provide them with the tools and stuff to get there. And if they didn't, what would you probably do? Probably fire them. So ask yourself, are you willing to do the work so that you don't have to fire yourself? We're talking about for $200,000, we're talking about 1.1 transaction a month. Now, why do I break it down like that? Because it can seem so overwhelming. When you say $200,000, if a person has not made that or is not making that, that just sounds like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make $200,000? Well, you sell a house a month. You sell a house a month. So what we need to do at that particular point is, before we kind of get into a work plan, is you kind of want to figure out what your numbers are by what you were doing. Like we were talking about, how many listings do you want to take? How many buyers do you want to do? That sort of thing, right? So here's my opinion. Again, I've been doing it a long time. There's an old saying that you'll hear that says, listers last. Listers last. I learned that my first year in the business. And why is that important? It's important because if you have a listing inventory, you control your market. When that listing sells, hopefully you sell it yourself, which gives you the opportunity to represent both sides, obviously. Or you now have however many buyers agents there are in the area working for you, right? In addition to that, if you do not know this, start to track this. You will find that some of your best buyers will come from listings that you have taken with your signs in the ground, because other than the internet, that is the way that buyers tend to find and or choose their real estate agents. A lot of buyers are out there and only want to deal with a listing agent. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's what they do. So you get listings. So here, to me, is what I think is a perfect model for that. This is the model that you can possibly choose moving forward. Is out of the transactions that you close, you'd like to do 75% of them as listings and 25% of them is buyers. See, guess what happens also when you're taking more listings? You get more control of your business. You get more control of your time. See, if you're working 100% buyers, which, by the way, I started out, I didn't start out getting a whole lot of listings. I started out working to get them, but I was working with many more buyers, right? And that's just the way it goes. And if you are in that mode, if that's where you're at in your career right now, understand that buyers turn into what? They turn into sellers down the road. So that's a part of building your business, and that's okay. But you want to look at 75% listings, 25% buyers. So now why? Well, because, okay, if you're all buyers and it's Sunday and you got a whole bunch of people at your house and you guys had a party going and you're watching the game, or you got a you got a cookout, you got something going on, right? And all of a sudden this buyer calls you and says, I want to go and I want to see this house at 1234 Maple Street. And you look up Maple Street, and Maple Street is $1.5 million a house. You leaving everybody at the house to go show that property. You have any control over your business? Because remember, we got to start thinking like business people, not just real estate people. We're all real estate people, but you want to think of you as the CEO of your little or big business. So with a listing, and if I happen to have that $1.5 million listing, so I'm at home watching the game, feet kicked up, a glass of cognac, and you call me to say, can I show the house? You can go do whatever you want to. But you getting up, you leaving your family, your cookout, you leaving the game to go show my house that I'm sitting here chilling with. Controlling your inventory, controlling your business. I'll give you an example. So that being said, if we were to go, say 50-50, let's just do 50-50 for now. 50-50 meaning 50% buyers, 50% sellers. The easy math to that is you would only need to take 6.6 listings for the year to get you to $200,000. You'd only need to have 6.6 buyers to close escrow to get to $200,000. So doesn't this begin to sound a little bit easier? It sounds a little bit more doable, right? It sounds a little bit more realistic that you can achieve these type of numbers to get you where you want to go. Now you plug in whatever numbers it is. There are a couple of people on here that I know, and I know that your goals are a lot higher than that. And that's fine. So you start to plug in the numbers so that you can work yourself down and you can work yourself into whatever it is that you're looking to do. Now, we're in a different market meaning I've been in some markets to whereas you'll take listings, you'll have homes for sale, and it might take a year to sell them. I've been in situations where it's more of a buyer's market, and the buyer has total control, and you have to adjust your numbers to that. So I'm bringing that up because if you need to take 6.67 listings, even in this market, realistically, for some reason, all of those are not going to sell and close. You just need to close 6.6. So let's just say, though, again, math in this particular case, because the listings sell so quickly, let's suppose that 80% of your listings sell, right? And you have 20% that fall out for some reason. The seller changes their mind. Unfortunately, they lose the house. They don't like you when they cancel, whatever, right? Say you have about 20% of them, and I believe that that's a high number. It shouldn't be that much, but let's just use that as a figure. So if you have 20% of them that fall out for whatever reason, and 80% of them that actually close, right? So how many listings would we actually need to take to close 6.67? 8 listings. 8 listings. You got 12 months. You need to find 8 people that'll put their home up for sale with you. If you can find 8 people that'll do that, odds are you're going to close at least 6.6 of them. In the market that we're in right now, more than likely, if you take 8 listings and you price them correctly, and you can walk and chew gum at the same time, they're probably all 8 of them are going to sell. But let's be conservative, because I mean, I've had some listings I've taken this year that didn't close, or that canceled, or changed their mind. It's just part of this, the nature of the beast. Now, on the buyer side may be a little bit more difficult. We all know right now, you write offers and they're not getting accepted right away, and they get accepted, you know. So it may, let's suppose that of the buyers that you actually get appointments on, that you actually get to the point to where you're writing an offer. I'm not talking about the person that called off your sign. I'm not talking about the person that you're dealing with on the internet that hasn't, you know, gotten to that point yet. I'm talking about people you actually put in the car, you had meet you in their car at a property, whatever the case may be, and you're now looking to, that are now looking for a home, right? And let's suppose in today's market, let's say 50% of those actually are ones that close. The reason why I say 50%, that depending upon your scripts, your dialogues, your conversations, your skill level in the type of market that we're in, it's not, and how busy you are, it's not unrealistic to think for whatever reason you're going to have people who you've taken out, you write offers for, that get tired. They may give up. They change their minds. They start to rent. The interest rates go up, and now they don't qualify anymore. There's just, you know, the scenarios. Excuse me. They call a listing agent, because, you know, whenever something doesn't work, it's your fault. I always know, if they don't get the house, or the listing doesn't sell, it's never, you know, it's never the dirty laundry that they have out all day. It's never the fact that you told them to write the offer on Monday and they wait till Thursday and then find out that the house is gone. So remember that, right? So realistically, so 50% say is that number. So how many buyers do we actually need to have that we're working with, and that even though all of them don't close, to say get us to 6.67? You're really looking at 10 buyers, a little over 10 buyers that you're actually taking out, that are actually at the point where they may be writing offers, that sort of thing, to get to close to 6.67 of them. Now, I understand that those buyers may write 10, 15 offers before they give one accepted. I get all of that, but just the numbers that we're talking about right now, as far as what we need to get to. So again, though, excuse me. So realistically, if you are working this business, especially if you're working it full time, needless to say, these numbers are more than achievable, quite honestly, if you're working part time. I mean, we're talking about 1 transaction per month. So now what we need to do is we need to build our work plan. Now, a couple of resources I'll give you so you can make it, again, as elaborate as you want it to be, is, like, to me, one of the sources, you guys probably know this already, is most of the excuse me, real estate trainers that are popular have their own worksheets. In the EXP organization, Zero to Diamonds, Ricky Carruth's, his is free. He has a really good work plan. In my opinion, Tom Ferry's business plan that he has, I think, is great. And again, it's free. You can, you know, Google Tom Ferry or Tom Ferry's business plan and download it or whatever. And there are a lot of action steps that they do. So what we're looking at now is okay, what are our action steps in this particular plan to get 1 transaction a month? And then let's suppose again that we're making our action plan because we want to be more listing centric if possible. What are the activities that we're looking to do to basically get 10 listings for the year, whatever it was, or 8 listings for the year, and 6 of them sell? So here's the first thing that I would say to you is, I would say, as far as lead generation. See, when I started, we called it prospecting. It was just prospecting. Mindset shift is lead generation. Why is mindset lead generation? Why is it different? Because prospecting, in most cases, sounds to people like I got to knock on doors, I got to cold call, I got to do this, that, and the other, and that's not the case, in my opinion. My opinion You want to lead generate. Like I look at my business as being as a lead generator, but prospect enhanced. Meaning I call people, I do things to enhance my lead generation. But lead generation can be done in a lot of different ways. So I would pick items. I would pick 3 items. You don't really need that many to do one deal a month. But I would pick 3 items that you're comfortable in doing consistently. That may be social media. You may be very comfortable doing Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Some of that, LinkedIn, some of those types of things. If that is what you're most comfortable doing, that needs to be part of your work plan. Open houses. Are you comfortable doing open houses? When I first started, I didn't have any listings. So I did open houses every Saturday and Sunday. And it was generally with another, it wasn't generally, it was another agent that would allow me to set their open houses. And that's where I got an awful lot of my buyers from. So I would, I know, we've got a different time with, the pandemic and that, but I don't know if any of y'all rode around on Saturday and Sunday, but all of a sudden there's a whole lot of folks with real estate signs in the ground again. So maybe open houses could be something for you. So we've got the internet, we've got open houses. If you're a little bit more comfortable and aggressive, maybe you do knock on some doors, or at least drop by and drop flyers off if you feel uncomfortable, particularly in the COVID world, of actually knocking on someone's door and vice versa. Door knocking does work, by the way. Door knocking does work, but it's just a matter of whether or not you're going to do it consistently. If you do it consistently, you don't have to knock on as many doors, per day. But if you decide, I'm gonna knock on 100 doors, and then it's come Friday and you ain't knocked on one, then all of a sudden that seems a little bit daunting. I'm gonna knock on 100 doors today, right? But if you say your goal is to knock on 100 doors during the week, and then we've got 5 days of the week, and you knock 25 doors a day, not too bad. Now, me myself personally, I hate door knocking. I was not a door knocker. I did it. It's effective. I was more of a cold caller when I started. It was easier. I couldn't come up with a reason why not to do it. It's too, you're like, okay, door knocking. Hell, it's cold. It's raining. But they got dogs outside. You can always come up with a reason not to knock. No, they got a gate. At least I used to come up with all kind of reasons where I would not knock on the door. For me, it was easier to call because, you hang up on me. And hell, I've been hung up on before. That's the worst thing that could happen. Somebody, hang up on me. If they start cussing, I hang up on them. It's pretty easy, right? But whatever it is that you're comfortable with, if you're comfortable working with expired listings, yes, even in this market, there are still expires. And yes, you should go back maybe 6 months or so. You don't necessarily go at the one that just expired yesterday, because since there are not that many expiring, all quadrillion agents are going after that one listing. But what about somebody that expired 6 months or 12 months ago, right? For sale by owners, there's a few people out there that think they can sell their home on their own. And some of them can, and that's okay. But do you have the opportunity to work with that for sale by owner and not only possibly list their home, but what about the buyers that go to that for sale by owner that they're not working with because they're only trying to sell their home? What if you're able to work a deal with the for sale by owner and talk to them about the buyers that come and say, hey, you know what, maybe if I can get them pre-qualified, we can see if they qualify for your home. You cut some sort of a deal with them, all right? And that's another class, a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that. When you're on social media, some of you, know, or may have heard my story, how I wish people happy birthday. You get all these birthdays coming up in Facebook. How many of you do is you just go to the news feed, happy birthday, happy B-day, but how many of you take the time maybe to go and actually hit them up in Messenger? What if you hit them up in Messenger? And what if I'm in Messenger? And I'll give you another good trick. Let's suppose that you missed their birthday. I've missed a couple of birthdays on purpose. Why? Because then it gives me the opportunity to say something like, hey, Michael, dude, bro, man, my bad. I'm sorry, man. I can't believe I did this. I missed your birthday, man. I am so sorry. So right now, I want to wish you a happy belated birthday. I hope that you had the bestest of time yesterday or whenever your birthday was, blah, 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 blah. Every time I've done that, I get a response. Because I'm not in their newsfeed. I'm in, you're in their private message. You're just talking about a birthday. You know, you're not trying to get a date. You're not trying to sell them something. You're not trying to just happy birthday. And then what happens when they respond? You know, Michael comes back and say, "Oh, Elgin, no, man, no big deal. Thanks for thinking about me. Yeah, I went to Costa Rica. You know, I had a good time." And then I say, "Man, so what did you do in Costa Rica?" Now you got a dialogue, right? Now you have a dialogue set up. Michael knows I'm a real estate agent. I don't have to then go into, "Man, I just sold the house at 123 Maple Street. I'm going to list one on June Rose Court. I'm going to," just how was your vacation, dude? How did things go? But I know I got off the subject a little bit, but not off the subject, because these numbers, although they sound good, what you should be saying to me is, okay, it's only one house I need to sell, but what do I do to get to that one house? How do I get these prospects? How do I do that? See, if you set up some of these things, and in my opinion, you set up three things, you set up three sources, and there are things coming up right now that a lot of people aren't thinking about, like that I've been working. That there is unfortunately, there's a large forbearance market right now. The large part, but there's a lot of people that during the moratorium, unfortunately, I don't want to say foreclosure, but we're in forbearance. And with the moratorium, being lifted, they may have some difficult decisions to make. But here's the part about them having difficult decisions to make. In this particular market, in this particular cycle, if they did not just buy the house, more than likely they have equity. So they have the opportunity to sell it and still make money, right? Interest rates. If you haven't heard, interest rates are going up. Ain't a matter if, it's a matter when. And right now, they're still, as far as I'm concerned, they're free. And you're still not free, Elgin, it's 2.2% or 3% or whatever. So see, again, remember, I'm old. So I have a difference of an experience. When we bought our first home, which was, God, I keep telling my age, 1989. That's when my wife and I bought our first home. That home was it was a townhome, it was 101,000 in Van Nuys that we paid. And I was an FHA loan, and I had to do what's called a buy down. I bought my interest rate down to 12%. The rates were 14.5. I bought my interest rate down to 12%. So see, when people tell me that the rates are 4%, you wonder why I had this funny look on my face, like I don't really care. It's because to me, it's still free. I paid money to get to a 12% interest rate. I had a $101,000 townhome that had a $150 HOA that was costing me around $1,600 a month. 101,000. There are people out here right now, because the rates are so low. You know what? Like the sales price is $400,000. They paying $2,000 a month. So I don't have a lot of sympathy. But it's a great point as you're talking to some of your buyers, or you're talking to some of your friends, or you're talking to people as you're trying to get them to a point of buying or selling. Is guess what? The interest rates are going up. They've heard it. They know it. And when the interest rate goes up, so now that same house that you were looking at, or you kind of been teetering on the fence about buying because you're waiting for the prices to go down. You're waiting for the market to crash. And while you're waiting to do that, now your interest rate goes up 0.5%. It seems like the world is crashing because your payment's going to be so much higher. Or maybe you don't qualify now. It's a great point for dialogue as you're trying to build your base. And while I'm on this tangent, one last thing that you guys should do, or in my opinion, maybe one first thing that you guys should do, is work your sphere of influence. Work your sphere of influence, and please understand that your sphere of influence is just not people that you talk to all of the time. If you're on Facebook and you're on some of these people that are looking at you and seeing what you're doing and watching you, and now they see you're a realtor doing this and that don't comment, and what they call them, trolls, they're still looking at your stuff, right? They're still looking at your stuff. Why not put some of that stuff to use? One thing that I suggest to everybody to do, especially when you're new, and if you're seasoned and you're refreshing your business some, is to make yourself a list. Make yourself a list of at least 100 people. Everybody know 100 people. especially if you've been sitting on this earth long. If you know 100 people, you know them from school, you know them from sports teams, you know them from the cleaners that you go to, from the restaurants that you visit, to your family. You know 100 people. Your 100 people could be your spirit influence farm. Now, if you're newer in the real estate business, or you haven't reached out to some of these people before, they already love you. They already love you. They want to see you succeed. What they're not going to say to you is they don't trust you for your real estate knowledge yet. They love you. They want you to succeed. They don't trust you. Why don't they trust you? Because they know what you did before. If they're friends, they've known you for a while. They knew in schools when you put the books under the other kid's chair. They know that you partied a lot, or they know that you sold them a box of soap last year. They know that you've done other things. So they do not know you as a realtor yet. And remember, real estate is people's largest investments that most of them make. So they might not necessarily trust you for that yet. But guess what they will do? They'll refer you. They'll refer you out. They'll refer you out right away, because the referral they send you is like an experiment. They want to see if you're any good on the people that they referred you to. Then if it goes good, they're, man, I'm so great that, that's fantastic. It worked out for you. Not only will they send you other referrals, but guess what? Now they're going to take you more serious as they get ready to make their moves. But here's why I say that about the 100. We're talking about the basic business plan, right? Of 200,000 gross commissions. We've already broken that down to the fact that it's approximately close to 13 transactions that you need to do in the year, right? I can tell you that if you put together 100 list of people that you know, and if you touch them 3 times a month, all 100, text, personal cards, a newsletter, a phone call, a private Facebook message, whatever. If you will touch them 3 times a month, that's 36 times a year. There are 12 deals waiting for you in that 100 people. It's been proven over and over again. I've done it over and over again. That's why I work my database so much. You put people in your database becomes your book of business that will feed you, that you can sell at some point or whatever. But you have that right now. Just looking at that $200,000 mark, and you can adjust that again for whatever it is. But for that $200,000 mark, for you to have 13 closed transactions, I can pretty much tell you that if you will make a list of 100 people, and you should still add to it, and if you got more people than that, do it. But if you have 100 people that you will put in a business plan, workable plan, that there are 12 deals there waiting for you. So when you're doing your 3 steps of what I was saying as far as a work plan, whatever it is, building that sphere should not only be one of them, but in my opinion, it should be the main one. Now, if you were in this business here right now, and let's suppose that you're maybe in a better financial position to where you can buy leads. So, and I'm not telling anybody to or not to, but if you're in a position to do that, that should be part of your work plan. Like if if you have the ability to hire an inside sales agent, or to go to Zillow or something and pay a certain amount of money for zip codes and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. I would tell you to just monitor it. Make sure on your profit and loss statement it's paying off for you. And in my opinion, unless you're going to build a humongous team, that then you might want to weed off of that down the road. But can it be a Kickstarter? Absolutely. But you just got to follow up with them properly. So we want to work our numbers. We want to come up with a work plan. We want to do a profit and loss statement. And the main thing, again, is to remember, this is a working document. It's a working document. So I do not, if you are not going to look at this on a consistent basis, if you're not going to write it up and take notes on it and make it look like a rough draft that you're going to look at and work for all year, then don't bother to do it. Oh, I mean, don't bother to do it. And listen, and don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty about not doing it. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to, and that's why I say about a 1 page or a really short, easy plan. See, this is something easy enough that most people will follow. And there's odds are that as you grow in your business, you will probably elaborate this out. You will probably come up with something, and it'll be all of this type of stuff. And you got a marketing plan, and how many things I'm gonna do with my marketing plan, and how many. There's a whole lot of stuff, right? There's a whole lot of stuff to be writing down, and eventually, and depending upon what type of you are in the DISC profile, in the DISC profile, that might be what's best for you. And if it is, nothing wrong with that either. Okay, but you want to put something together that you are going to work. You want to get your you want to put in the address of your in your GPS so you can get to where you want to get there. And if you don't put an address in your GPS, you don't know where you're going to end up, right? Because you're going to end up somewhere. You just don't know where you're going to end up. And I'm just telling you that if you'll do this plan like this, or in a way similar, and you work it down the way we're talking about it, now in your head, wow, to make $200,000, all I need to do is do 1 deal a month, 1 deal a month, 1 deal a month, 1 deal a month. Well, there's 4 weeks in the month. It's 30 days in most months. I need to sell 1, and I'm a salesperson. That's my job, right? Well, it makes it, to me, just not as overwhelming. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up. I talked longer than I planned on just talking. Is give me some questions. You guys have questions, thoughts, anyone?
Well, I don't have a question, but I love what you're saying, Elgin. Like we were going through in our office, and Patrick's like, hey, just do it. Or you're planning to fit. He's like, I learned from Mike Ferry. You got to just do it. I was looking at templates, and I'm thinking it's got to be this 50-page document. It's a page, not even a full page, because right. You need, like you said, you need to be able to look at it daily, weekly, whatever works, even monthly, and say, okay, because you have to be able to read it in one sitting at right. breakfast or whatever. Otherwise, you're saying, why do it? Throw in a file cabinet and then look at it in 3 years and go, ooh. And I've been able to, a couple of us in our office have like a accountability meeting on Wednesdays. We call up at 9 in the morning, just say, hey, how's your week going? Which is awesome. And I talked to one of the girls one week, and she's like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I showed her my plan. I sent it over to her. She's like, that's not bad. And I know an agent who's been doing this for 20 years, never had a plan. He does okay. He gets the, sphere of influence, and gets a few sales, whatever. He's like, dude, and I sent it to him. He's like, that's not that intimidating, because it 50 pages is very intimidating. And it seems like you're a lawyer, you're filling up, it's worse than our contracts. And it's like, no, it's just got to work. You got to have your basic numbers. And I've already done my plan, but I love listening to this just for more ideas, because this is a living document. It's going to change with the market, with our goals as we accomplish them or not. So and I just want to thank you for doing this. This is awesome. This is just amping me up even more.
Good, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And just so you guys know too. So this is another thing, I guess. This is my plan. It's 1 page. Well, I got a little bit on this page. Now, give you another little trick, is that I was joking about why I did about doing my plan in October, and I changed it around and blah, 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 and everything, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the other thing, is if you will do your business plan and have it completed, say by like November, and instead of saying I'm going to work it in January 1, I'm going to start working it December 1, you've effectively given yourself 13 months to the year instead of 12. Because also remember, hey, if you sold a house today, what's today? December the 9th. Realistically, no hitches, nobody drunk throughout the holiday. Your check ain't coming to January 9th to 10th. Your check is coming 2022. So if you wait till January 1 to start working your plan, realistically, you now have no income for January, which starts to get you income in February and hopefully March. Well, guess what the end of March is? The end of March is the end of the first quarter of 2022. See, one thing that I learned that really, you hear me joke about age and all that, but what ages us in this business is that to understand that no matter what we do that has a success today, we don't get rewarded for that until 30 days out. So you're always looking 30, 35, 45 days out. And so it goes even faster. And realistically, if you ever want to look at why you're slow, like say you're, why am I so slow? Well, why aren't things working for me the way that they should? If you'll go back and look 90 days in the rear, you will find 90 days ago, you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing, which is why you're not getting what you are expecting to get now. If you will work a plan though, you're going to find this business is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. It is simple. And because the item that we provide is such an expensive item in the area that we're in, there's an awful lot of monies that we can achieve by that. And for those of you that are at let's say that are in an EXP, or for that matter, a Kellaway, or so somewhere there's something else beside the real estate, you put together those numbers too. Like in my business, so for my business plan, give you an idea, I will give you my numbers because they're so low. No, I'm not going to give you numbers because my numbers are irrelevant to what your numbers are going to be. But as far as my plan goes, not only do I have how many listings, et cetera, I also have how much monthly revenue share I'm looking to get from the agent attraction side. So guess what I had to do for that though? I had to build a plan for that, to how I'm going to get to that monthly, right? I actually have, as part of my business plan, is how many additional stock shares I want to get in the next 12 months. Well, I have to put that plan together. That obviously coincides with how many families I help, how many homes I actually, sell and close. That's part of my plan. If you have any other stuff, with that, is part of your plan, which also for me takes me to my GCI of where it's going to be. And your work plan will then tell you whether or not you're going to work hard enough to get whatever you want to get. And don't be afraid to make adjustments. Don't be afraid to be, you're 6 months in. You're 6 months in and you're working and your plan's not working, make some adjustment. That's why you want to do that. And if you do that profit and loss statement every month, like we're talking about, that's going to keep you engaged with your plan. And if it keeps you engaged in your plan, that's going to keep you doing it. And one thing William said, which is also very good, you said more than one thing, but one of the things that William said, which is very good though, is have an accountability partner, have an accountability group. If you don't have someone that's in the business, have someone in your family, all right? But have someone that's going to tell you the truth. Don't get you a yes man or a yes dude. Get you someone that you can actually say, hey, I'm trying to do one sale a month. That's going to say to you, well, hey, you know what, Michelle, what did you do this month to get that one deal? Hey, what did you do this month? Angela, what did you do this month to get that one sale? And that you can say, you know what, I called 5 people. And they're going to go, wow, only 5 people? Have someone that's going to be honest with you. Have someone, I always say, hey, you know what? I played a lot of sports. I could do that once, like a long time ago. I don't want the coach in my ear. I don't want to be a fighter. I still remember the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas fight, and Mike's getting his butt whooped, and his trainer's in his ear. Come on, Mike. It's okay. Man, don't be telling me I'm getting my butt whooped. I need some help. Give me something here to get me out there to do what I need and want to do. So that's just me. I don't want a whole bunch of people around me that are just going to say yes, 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 and all that. So I didn't marry one of those people either. So my wife will tell me, you ain't on. We need to. Why ain't you? Okay. So any other questions? Any other thoughts? Did everybody find this at least a little bit useful, hopefully?
Yes, definitely. And I thank you again. Do you also break it down for monthly, weekly, and daily tasks to connect to, I know you said, you know, three touches a month for your SOI, but do you break it down even further to daily
Yes,
and
I do.
weekly?
Yes, I do. An honest answer is I'm not as good as it as I used to be. So kind of what I break down now is that I time block. So for me, my time blocking goes where I do lead generation between 8 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Now then I break down what my lead generation will be. Now I have this put into, well, in my case, KV Core and Top Producer, where it comes out and will tell me how many personal notes I need to write that day. And if I put it in schedule properly, who the notes go to, and I have a breakdown. I have my newsletters going out this month. So I have it broken down like that. And then I have a time block set up for when I want appointments. So remember, I'm running a business. So one thing that I learned is that to me, when you lead generate in the morning, one, you get to that's nothing. Nobody likes to do that. So anybody tells you, you got this trainer that just tells you that, they just like eating spinach. I mean, you should do it, but most people don't love to do that, right? You don't love to make these calls. So generally your energy is the highest in the morning and you get it out the way. You get out the way and it's not like weighing on you like, okay, I need to do this. And then it'd be like 6 o'clock in the evening. You haven't done anything yet. You get it out the way in the morning. Guess what else you get out of the way in the morning when you lead generate that time of day? You find other like-minded people that are available that time of the day to do business with, right? So if you don't want to do business at 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, you don't want to go show houses at 8, 9, you don't want your listing appointments to be then, but then yet you're calling people at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Well, odds are that's when it's the best time for them to do business, which means that now that's when you're going to do it. So these little things can control your business that way. But that's for me. So for me, lead generation in the morning, and my CRM spits out what I'm supposed to do, because obviously I put it in there and I put them on a plan, and I do that. So that's my first daily look. Now I just recently hired a virtual assistant, and so my virtual assistant is going through where I have certain tasks I'm asking her to do with some of my follow-up calls and stuff in KV Core, mostly the internet stuff.
Great.
I hope that helps. And you know what, too, you can figure out what you do on a daily basis. If you want to, this could be tedious, but if you were to go like a week to 2 weeks and every day mark down what you did that day, what time you did that, and how long it took you, to see how much time you're actually wasting.
Right.
See how much time you're actually wasting, and then make your adjustments based upon that.
Very good.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. Hopefully they would answer. Anybody else have anything else before we clock out?
Well, you nailed it. I talk a lot. I was going to ask you, I was following your antics out in Vegas and wherever, Hawaii. You were like Carmen Sandiego, or Where's Waldo? So our brokerage has our national convention in Vegas. Great place to do it, apparently. Did you find a ton of value going to that? I mean, there's many aspects to judge the value of pitching money to go to something like that. But did you overall find it, other than just entertaining and fun, find it a good use of your time?
Yes, but in my opinion, with the convention, it also has to be intentional as well. So, right. So if you're like for me, like I posted a lot of the fun stuff, but I also made a list of every class that I wanted to go to. I made every class. I also, had a number of people, obviously with my only XP, team. There are a lot of people that I hadn't met that I wanted to meet.
Right.
And, I took certain people to dinners and stuff like that. But all that stuff was intentional. So in the beginning, when I would go to some of those things, though, and I was networking more, as far as particularly agents around the country, I was intentionally making sure I had X amount of business cards. My goal was to shake X amount of hands, talk to X amount of people. So whatever it is, so like I didn't just fall into Vegas and be like, okay, now what? You go there with a plan, and of course you adjust. If you go there with a plan, yes, it could be very beneficial.
Cool. Well, so you can steal this if you want. I wrote convention with intention.
I like that. Absolutely.
Well, because when I came from New York, I was in a pretty big brokerage. We had our national, and yeah, if you're going to be the guy that's hung over and miss the first class, you might miss that nugget that I know Grant Cardone always says, get that one little nugget from a book, get that one little nugget from that seminar, figure it out, pay someone to read the book, get the nugget from them, So no, cool. Like, because my wife was asking me, she was like, oh, you're going to go to this, you're a new agent out here. Do you think it's gonna be worth your while? I said, yeah, because like you said earlier, the referral business. Absolutely. I've been reaching out. I'm trying to work that because I have my market back from New York. I'm getting some bites on that stuff lately. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I want to do that all over the country. I want
Right.
to have different people move from here to certain markets, and they move to here from certain markets. So, say you get 4 or 5 of those a year. That's pretty nice to pad out your yearly goal. But you said it doesn't fall in your lap. Like, right. Oh, I hope someone calls me.
Right.
Okay.
Good for you. I think that's all great.
It absolutely works with doing the referral. Just to bring it back to that, because I met an agent from Tennessee one time, and we ended up doing 2 deals together. Cool. I sent her some business, and she sent me, and we got referrals, and so it does work. If you can connect.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So yes, that's good. I like that convention with attention. I guess I will. Yes, I will steal that. You won't be the first. You won't be the first person I've stole something from. I've been stealing stuff from folks for 34 years.
Borrowing.
But that's what we do, right? Thank you guys. Any of you guys even outside of this, it does not have to be a forum. If you have some questions or you need some help or you want whatever, reach out to me directly. My goals, is beside helping as many families as I can, is to help as many agents that I can. The more successful that you guys are, the better that you guys are, the better our industry is, the more that it helps everyone as well. So, if I don't speak to you guys or drop a video that you watch, I will drop one. It'll just be a matter if you watch it. I wish you guys, happy holidays. I hope that you take the time to enjoy your families, because this does go really quick, man. It goes really quick. You can work and enjoy your family. So don't go broke and don't work, and then all of a sudden January 1st, you're like, shoot, I got to start. No, start today, enjoy. Start today, still enjoy. So come January 2022, hopefully that the first part of the month, you're like, I can't believe I'm closing this many deals. What if your goal is to do 200,000? And what if your goal is to do 13 deals? And what if you have 4 or 5 of them already in January?
That works.
Just a thought. I'll leave you on this note, is that a lot of people in real estate will say that Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday, December and November, are a slow time. I will tell you that because it seems like most real estate agents stop working somewhere around Halloween. I never understood that. and that the only people that are not working during this time are other realtors. People are still buying. People are still selling. And guess what those people are also doing? They're still working. And if you have a buyer or you have a seller during those kind of the months, they're really serious because they want to enjoy their holidays too. December in particular have always been great months for us. I can't think, there probably has been, I just can't remember. I can't remember a December when we did less than 5 closed transactions in that month. It's a nice way to start off January. And we, you know what? I didn't miss any basketball games. I never got called away from the tree. I still open presents. I still get to have eggnog. I get to do everything else everybody else is doing, but I also kept my business going. So God bless all you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me. Hopefully it helped. Thank you guys in the chat. I am seeing them. It's hard for me to see them when I take my glasses off, but they say I look better. I don't know. But you guys have a great one. And God bless you guys. And thank you. If you have any questions or anything, just reach out and holler to me. Okay? Take care.
Thanks,
I am
Elton.
going to record this, so it'll be on YouTube if you guys need it or want it, and if it's helpful. All righty. Take care, you
Great.
guys.
Thank you.